Now that you've had that introduction, we are going to work through the same idea, turning a whole number into a fraction before you multiply. This is another way of taking a fraction of a whole number, especially if the whole number is not easily divisible into that many pieces. So they've put the 24 over 1 because there's one piece in each of the 24. You multiply straight across and get 24 over 6. It says simplify. It says or. We need an amount that shows 24/6. Well, if I take my 24 and put it in sections of 6, I can make 4 of those. I won't have any left over. So my answer is 4. So a wild parrot spends 4 hours a day looking for food. Why? If we go back to the story, the parrot spends 1/6 of a day looking for food. You know a day has 24 hours, so we just found 1/6 of 24. So a couple of things to keep in mind when you multiply with fractions. You always want, if you're multiplying, the first thing you look at is you want everything, every number, to be a fraction. If it's just a whole number, it's real easy to turn a whole number into a fraction. We're going to go a couple of other steps in a couple of lessons, but right now, turn to page 726, top of the page. Now we want to find 2 times 4/5. Do we have a fraction involved? Yes. Are we adding or subtracting? Nope. We're multiplying. If there's a fraction and we are multiplying, everything must be a fraction. So we could have estimated first and said my answer should be close to 2. But when I actually do the problem, 2 times 4 is 8. 1 times 5 is 5. Remember, we're multiplying, so we do not need common denominators. When you multiply, you just go straight across. Answer here is 8/5. Then it says or, and it gives you 3 boxes. This is a really good hint that you should come out with a mixed number. Is 8 larger than 5? Yes. So you can take a whole amount out. Top number divided by bottom number. So we can take one group of 5 out of our 8. We have 3 pieces left over. We have one whole group that we used. We have 3 pieces left over. It still takes 5 to make a whole group. So we can answer this in 2 ways. 2 times 4/5 is 8/5, which is also the same as 1 3/5. And then they're checking it and saying, is 1 3/5 around 2? Well, it's more than 1. 5/5 would be 2. So, yep, it's around there. Look over on 727. What I am going to ask you to do right now on 727, I want you to do the whole page. I want you to pause the video. When you are done with the whole page, hit resume and you will check your answers. So do all of 727. All right, I'm about to show you the answers. So on some of these, I am showing you all of the work that's involved. On the last 6, I'm expecting you to be able to figure out how your work would match and get to the final answer. So on number 2, I rewrote the whole problem, multiplied straight across, got 12/3. This one I didn't even have to really write out. 12 divided by 3 I know is 4. 1/4 times 20 over 1. 1 times 4 is 20. 4 times 1 is 4. 20 divided by 4. Oh, that comes out real nice and even to be 5. However, 5/6 of 18, not so nice. Put 18 over 1. 5 times 18 is 90. 6 times 1 is 6. That's an improper fraction. The next step is to divide. 90 divided by 6. Did it long division, came out with 15 as the final answer. 1/5 times 7. So taking 1/5 7 times, you come up with 7/5. But that's an improper fraction. 7 divided into groups of 5. I can make one whole group. I have 2 pieces left over. It still takes 5 pieces to make another group. That's the final answer. 2/3 times 14. Put the 14 over 1 because you're multiplying and you must have whole numbers. Once you have, or you're multiplying, so you must have all fractions. There we go. Once you have them all fractions, since you're not adding and subtracting, you just go straight across. You do not get common denominators when you multiply. 2 times 14 is 28. 3 times 1 is 3. Then I didn't even write out that final answer. That's what sort of stumped me. I just right away said 28 divided by 3 because I knew that was an improper fraction. Goes in there 9 times, takes care of 27 pieces. I have 1 piece left over and it still takes 3 to make a whole thing. 9 1/3 is the final answer. 2/5 times 11. Not adding, not subtracting, so I do not need common denominators. I am multiplying, so must have all fractions. 11 over 1 makes the whole number a fraction. Multiply straight across and get 22/5. It is improper, so I take my 22, divide it into groups of 5. I can get 4 whole groups. That takes care of 20 pieces. I have 2 left over, so 4 2/5 is the final answer. Now, if you look down at these 3, you can take your whole number and evenly divide it into the denominator. That's why all of these came out to be whole numbers. So you could do it that way, or you could have put your 12 over 1, gotten 12/6. 12 divided by 6 is 2. 13 over 1, 13 times 2 is 26. 26 over 13, 26 divided by 13 would give you 2. 24 over 1, 24 times 3 gets you 72 over 1 times 4 is 4. When you divide 72 by 4, you get 18. This one would be a step easier to say. 24 divided among groups of 4, well, that gives me 6 in each 1/4. If I take those 6 3 times, I come out with 18. However, on these bottom problems, that won't work because you can't evenly divide 5 into groups of 4. So you need to turn fraction into a whole number, go straight across, simplify. Fraction into a whole number, go straight across, simplify. Now this one's a little trickier. This one, I can tell, had to be simplified. Why? Because 1 times 10 is 10. But the final answer here is 1/2. 15 times 7, you should have come up with 105. When you take your 105, divide it into groups of 10, you get one group here. You bring down the 5, 0, because you got to take care of the 5, and you still have 5/10 left over. So you made 10 groups, and you had 5/10 left over. You should be able to recognize 5/10 is the same as 1/2, and you don't forget your 10 whole groups. You had to do the same thing here on 13, so if you didn't come out with 26 2/3, if you came out with 26 4/6, you need to look at the 4/6 and realize you could have simplified it. That probably took you a good little while. What I want you to do now is flip in your books to page 729 and 730. I want you to do both pages. 729 and 730 is your homework today. When you send me the photographs, I need to see that you have turned the fractions into whole numbers. I need to see that you have multiplied straight across. I need to see what you do then to get the improper fraction back into your final answer. So top number divided by bottom number. The whole amount is a whole number. The pieces left over is your numerator, and it still takes 3 of those to make a whole thing. If you need to simplify, I want you to show me that you are simplifying things as well. So that's 729. 730 asks you to apply them into story problems. For number 7, the popcorn machine shows you the whole height, and they want you to take 3/4 of that. Number 8, they've hidden the other number in the problem. He's making bread and wants to triple the recipe. If you want to triple, that means you want 3 times each amount. Number 9, they haven't hidden anything. Number 10, I'm going to give you a little bit more of this. Write and solve a real-world problem involving the multiplication of a fraction in a whole number whose product is between 10 and 15. So I will give you some choices. You could start with the whole number 20. I need this fraction of 20. You could start with the whole number, trying to think of an easy one again. You could start with 30. So choose between these two, figure out how you could get this whole number times what other number will come out to be more than 10 but less than 15. So it cannot be exactly 10. So you can't say 20 times 1/2 because that equals exactly 10. You would need to say 20 times a fraction that is larger than half to get a little bit more than 10. So you'll have to play a little bit with that one. I'm not so worried about the real world problem actually as I am, can you take a whole number times a fraction and come up with an answer that's more than 10 but less than 15. 11, show me the work that you are doing before you choose that final answer. So be careful with these. Your homework is 729 and 730.